One of the things I find most interesting about the film is how closely it examines sort of the relationship, the undercover relationship, that's very much built on lies. But you get a sense that these characters care for one another. They develop some sort of relationship, some type of feelings, but it's all based on how they feel in the moment.
How does he manage to be Bob Musella during the day and then go home and be Bob Mazur, family man, husband? That kind of reconciliation was what really drew me to this story and gave it the nuanced difference between just being a plot-driven, crime scene kind of story. So that's what really drew me, and then the friendships that are drawn here, and then the ultimate betrayal of that friendship in order to do your job.
If you look at the quality that he discovers in Bob Mazur, or Bob Musella, his alter ego, it's almost a mirror image of himself. He sees himself and comports himself as a sophisticated, successful businessman. He's a family man. He's a devoted husband and father. And he thinks he's found a kind of brother in Bob Musella, the alter ego. And so for him, the development of this friendship is quite easy once he gains his trust. What the draw is really for us is that it's an opportunity to play someone that's multidimensional, relationship that's very complex in nature, where, in fact, aside from their jobs, they actually seem like decent fellows, decent men, and gentlemen who could actually be friends. What I love about what Bryan does in the film is that although you have a very obviously courageous, upstanding person doing his job, even he gets into an area where he has to take a moment and sort of check himself. Is this the right thing to do? Do the means justify the ends? And that's an interesting question to ponder.
When you're playing real life characters, you've played real life characters before. When you're playing a character that I guess that people are less familiar with, does that give you sort of a freedom to create a character for the narrative sense than, say, LBJ, where you have a certain vision that people may have of that particular character that you have to commit to? Does something like this free you up to say, well, people don't know too much about them, I have to pay some service to, I guess, the real life counterpart, but it's still also a character for this particular story?
Yeah, I think you'd make a huge mistake to discount the fact that this man and his characteristics are what got him through. So I paid particular attention to his book and the details and realized that he's really Bob Mazur is a very OCD, very hyper-focused, methodical man, all checks and balances.
Which you'd have to be, right?
You'd have to, well, actually, but Amir Abreu, his partner, was very spontaneous and very, let's do it now, let's switch gears, let's do this. So they complemented each other very well. You have to bring your own strengths, whatever your personality strengths are. And Bob's was organization and being very pragmatic about it. That said, that's still up in your head. When he is making a friend with Roberto and Gloria, I think he would have preferred that Gloria left and left the country before all hell broke loose. It didn't happen that way, but I think he would have preferred that, just because he got to know them and he knew the family. And it's like, we get Roberto, but I don't want to destroy, it's like, the complexity of that.
There is a more freedom in portraying someone who actually existed if they're not well known. There's also, in this case, a whole, just a kind of treasure trove of research material. The book, as Bryan mentioned, for one, the script, of course, but the personal relationship we developed with the real Bob Mazur was incredibly helpful. And then having access to the actual secret recordings between Bob Mazur and Roberto Alcaíno was sort of the icing on the cake. For me, in playing Alcaíno, I really, given his history and his line of work, I really wanted to get it right. I really wanted him to appreciate any of the goodness that I could possibly bring to the role, because he's still around.
Yes, he is still around. In fact, Bob Mazur is still very much alive and well, and he will attend the premiere and he will be hiding in plain sight. Nobody will know who he is, but he's there.